Life is like a highway, full of twists and turns. Sometimes we find ourselves switching lanes, moving fast toward new opportunities.
White man's white land, white cotton in the white fields, black slaves with their black backs peeled. The past kills, black feet in the black night, running fast from black dog to the black bite. Should I act white? Cause what I've heard is only black is darkness and white is good, it's like the light, right? Right? Black Bible, white pages, black ink, used wrong by the white racist, blacks think. But white man's white plans are whitewash, that's why they built these white walls. I'm praying that they might fall. I guess we're colorblind. I guess we're colorblind. Blinded in our sin to all the ways of our creator, for we made us in his image, but we also image haters. I guess we're colorblind. I guess we're colorblind. Just black, just white, mixed together, all gray. We were never meant to be this way.
All I see are shades of gray. This rain pours down my window pane. All I see are shades of gray. This rain pours down my window pane.
Looking through this window, all I see is pain. I guess I'll call it window pane. A white widow looking out a white window, bit by a black widow. Ironically, that's widow pain. A little poison with a little rain. A little boy was killed, his skin was stained. At least that's what they thought, and so he hangs. I once heard a white Christian man point the finger in his hand in black skin and say it was the mark of Cain. Dang, so twisted. But I heard the same and yet the opposite from a black Christian. So I guess we're all the mark of Cain. Since we kill each other, we're clearly disabled, slain. I got some black family that don't even know it yet. My white family never seems to grab a hold of it. But my true kin is every tone, every color, painted red on my sisters and my brothers. But I guess we're colorblind. I guess we're colorblind. Blinded in our sin to all the ways of our creator, for we made us in his image, but we also image haters. I guess we're colorblind. I guess we're colorblind. Just black, just white, mixed together, all gray. We were never meant to be this way.
All I see are shades of gray. This rain pours down my window pane. Yes. All I see are shades of gray. This rain pours down my window.
bottom of the sea, we pray that you save us with amazing grace. We need you to break these chains. Jesus.
Show me your face! No! What are you ashamed of? You got the best you got! Best you got! Best you got! Show me your fucking faces! Where's your face? Where's your face? Show me your face. I don't even know who you are. This is my face. Let's fucking go. You don't know my people. You don't know my people. You don't know my people. Oh, you don't know that? Where the fuck am I from? You guys, where's your faces? Where's your show me your faces? Howard! Howard!
Fucked up.
Fucking faces! Where's your face? Where's your face? Show me your face. I don't even know who you are. This is my face.
Don't miss out. Log on to oneindia.com for more updates.
Developing tonight at 11, hatred on display. Just hours ago in Columbus, a group of swastika-toting masked men marching through the short north, yelling racial slurs with a megaphone. The incident all caught on camera by our 10 TV viewers. Tonight, community leaders are condemning the hate. Governor Mike DeWine denouncing the group, saying there is no place in this state for hate, bigotry, anti-Semitism, or violence. Mayor Andrew Ginther and City Attorney Zach Klein echoing that sentiment. City Council President Shannon Hardin writing the president-elect has emboldened the group. Now, 10 TV's Carla Rogner is live for us with more on the community's response to that incident tonight. Carla.
Yeah, Colin, just like our community leaders, community members were disappointed and shocked to see neo-Nazis in their own neighborhoods. It all unfolded just as another group in North Columbus was holding an event to combat racism. A Saturday afternoon interrupted by hate. Dwight Holland and his friend Dante Bell were enjoying the Ohio State game when they started hearing loud racial slurs coming from High Street.
They walked past our block and all we heard was hate, kill, go.
Like, for real, y'all came out here like that?
They got their phones out and started filming as members of the group yelled slurs at them.
Why y'all hiding y'all's faces?
Holland yelled back, asking the neo-Nazis to take their masks off and show themselves. What made you want to do that?
Well, most of them are cowards. You know, they don't want to show their faces. Like the KKK, they wear the hoods and whatnot, but I mean, it's like it says, it's 2024.
They say this hatred has no place in their city.
You know, you don't deserve to be out here on the streets with the whole racial bigotry.
It's time to be real. We're in 2024. Come on, how many years do we got to go through this?
Meanwhile, in North Columbus, Sophia Pierre-Luce learned about the neo-Nazis march while taking part in a Haitian festival organized with intention to quell hatred and racism.
But it seems like it's not, because I just find out just now that they have the group of people walking the streets.
She immigrated to the U.S. as a teenager and has been horrified to witness the hateful rhetoric about Haitian migrants in Springfield that made headlines during the election cycle.
We are here. We've been here years ago. There was nothing before. Everyone was working the same places, eating the same restaurant, doing everything. So why going back? Why are we going to start something that was not before?
This festival meant to be a safe space to celebrate culture. Pierre-Luce joins Holland and Bell in calling for an end to hate of all kinds.
I just want us to all be peaceful.
Now is the time that we should unite as one in the community and also try to know who we are.
Police did end up confronting that group of neo-Nazis over on Goodale Street, but they tell us that no one was arrested. They also tell us that no one was injured. In Mayor Ginther's statement, he mentions that he will work with the Columbus Police Department to continue to monitor the situation. Reporting in Columbus, Carla Rogner, 10 TV News.
Hello, Strong Hearts. Welcome back to JusMe TT. I'm playing the videos that have been broadcasting throughout this past week concerning the neo-Semitist group that walked and marched through my city. And a lot of people have asked me to speak on it. What do I feel? Am I afraid? Just a lot of different questions being asked, and so I said, well, I'll come in live and I'll talk about it, and I'll get you all's opinion as well, because this isn't the first time this has actually happened. I just haven't physically seen it or been down, where they've marched, but they've been here before. They've actually held full rallies. So am I surprised by it with everything that's gone on with the election? No, I'm not. The thing is, we have to educate ourselves about who these groups of folks are, even question where they reside, because they don't just pop up out of thin air. They lay in wait. They wait for the perfect opportunities to come around and do their marches and their rallies or whatever. And so I just want to put up some tip lines because there may be people who are deeply affected by just the visual aspects of what took place. There may be people who are very deeply concerned because they've never seen anything like this before. So please keep in mind that there are helplines, and in this day and age, there's about a helpline for everything, right? So they have the anti-racism, anti-oppression hotline. It's 1-833-485-1335. They also have a website, and they also have, I believe, another site that you can go on and get information. It says, "Speak up. We can't afford to be silent." It has their times down there that you can contact them. Then there's also the racist incident support line that you can contact if you yourself have experienced any type of form of racism or had an incident occurred on behalf of your race. You can contact 1-833-457 I'm sorry, 5463. Okay, so those are two different tip lines that you can contact. Helplines, tip lines, or resources where you can contact somebody and speak to them. So we're all about peace and love over here, and I just want to spread the message that this is an anti-racism channel. People of all race, creed, religion, sex, groups are welcome over here. If you are racist and you have opposing opinions about someone of an opposite race or color, you will not be welcome here. You will be blocked immediately. Anti-racism is the practice of actively identifying and opposing racism. The goal of anti-racism is to actively change policies, behaviors, and beliefs that perpetrate racist ideas and actions. Okay, so that's what it's about over here. Our governor did make a complete statement standing up against the rally that occurred, and we also have some community leaders who are actively working around the clock to combat the issue that took place on the 16th. Let's hear what the governor actually had to say.
Now to a story developing out of Columbus. A neo-Nazi demonstration took place in the Short North Saturday afternoon. I'm News 5's Jeff Coolidge. People walked down sidewalks holding flags with swastikas on them. They were wearing all black with masks featuring a red skull. Tonight, Ohio Governor Mike DeWine issuing a statement condemning the neo-Nazis, saying in part, quote, "We will not tolerate hate in Ohio. There is no place in this state for hate, bigotry, anti-Semitism, or violence, and we must denounce it wherever we see fit," end quote. The mayor of Columbus, along with the Columbus City Attorney, the Columbus City Council President, and many others also issuing statements denouncing this display of hate. We have some of the statements on our News 5 app and website.
So action has been put forth to take place to combat, so they won't come back into the city and march again. But I believe it falls under freedom of speech. So as you heard, no arrests were made, no violence took place that day, but they did ask the group to leave. So we'll keep an eye out on the developing story of what happens, if any future arrests are going to be made. They are just binding it all together and really just trying to band together as a community, as a city, to keep the public calm, to let everybody know that even though these things happen, they're not going to tolerate anybody being a threat to anyone else. So let's salute some people that came into the building. Salute Tori, salute Dragon, hey Legan, salute Nanoma Watch, salute to the Cynical One, salute Tommy, salute 80s Baby, salute Mink, and I also want to thank anyone that's a new subscriber over here on the channel for subscribing, and I hope you all enjoy the content that I present to you, and we really, really appreciate you for all the support. Let's get back into what some of the community leaders had to say and what's their plan of action in the city of Columbus.
Good evening, I'm Isabel Hansen. 24 hours after hate and chants of racial slurs filled the short north, a group spreading love and acceptance. They're condemning the message of neo-Nazis who marched through the area yesterday. Nick Veland joins us live from the short north. Nick, what do today's marchers want people to know?
Yeah, Isabel, well, those marchers of state or of community leaders, range from state senators to senior pastors, and their message was clear and people are chanting that throughout this entire area as well. They are saying that what happened yesterday is not tolerated in this area. And now we're going to show you some video of what took place just before 5 o'clock today. And here's a group of around 32 community leaders marching 2 by 2 along the same route where people more than 24 hours ago were chanting racial slurs. And those who marched spoke to us beforehand about the message they wanted to spread.
The message is just clear. We're here. We're here as black men, marching together, walking together, and it doesn't stop with this march. This is just the beginning of us doing something great in this city together, period.
Well, we're not hiding behind a mask. You clearly see that. We have mayors that are here, we have other folks, and just simply won't do it. My house, I can walk to my house from here. Not going to hide behind a mask. Not going to run. I see when this is so vile and so disrespectful, no, simply cannot be.
And like he said, there's just the beginning of what they're looking to do to keep continuing to spread love throughout this community and the Short North area. Live on your side in the Short North, Nick Veland, ABC 6 News.
We checked in with Columbus police to find out if any arrests were made in connection to yesterday's march. They say officers heard that neo-Nazis were possibly involved in a physical altercation, so they stopped the van the group left in to investigate. Police say they detained several people but decided an assault did not take place. They released the group and no one was charged. Police also tell us there was no use of force by officers.
So that's what they're saying. They're saying that it's not going to be tolerated. We have some strong black community leaders here, and they were on it and rallying together, gaining support from the community, and they did their own march the following day. So as you guys can see, everything is back calm, and we're going to get into who this group is, because there may be some misconceptions of what Nazis are. There's a lot of different groups out there, but this group in particular dates back, I think, from the 50s or the late 40s to the 50s or something like that. And so they're expanded all throughout the United States, and it's just not one group of people. But we're going to get into a little bit of history about who this group of people are. Also, we're going to keep an eye out on anything developing with this particular story, and we are here for support. And if there's anybody that again wants to come up, discuss it, or has been affected by the events at all, feel free to hit the panel.
An American citizen was assassinated in broad daylight by a Nazi who the day before had been marching with torches down American streets.
We can have our country once again free. We can have it once again white. We can have it once again Christian. And above all, ladies and gentlemen, we can have it once again a Christian American republic with a wholesome atmosphere that every American can be proud of.
George Lincoln Rockwell, leader of the American Nazi Party, meets a violent end. Murdered by a sniper's bullet.
Nobody in America wants the illegals here. And even centuries. Nobody. Except for these corrupt politicians in that building back there.
So that's a bit of history. The neo-Nazi American group was founded in 1959 by George Rockwell. And if you were paying attention to the video, you would see that he was assassinated himself during a rally. So this group has gone through a couple of generations. And gotten forcibly louder and stronger. And so they're all around the United States. They want their voices heard. They don't want illegals here. They dislike black people, people of color, people of different cultures and races. They feel like they're pure nation, and we've kind of invaded in their space. That's how they feel. Just to give you a brief synopsis of what that group is. I got some more information to share with you on the group, but I wanted to step into a little bit on, again, my personal opinion. I'm not in fear because what God says that we're to be of no fear of anything or anybody. And nobody is above him or higher than him. So whatever it's going to be is going to be.
Salute, TT. Salute to the chat.
Salute, Watch. Welcome to the panel. So what I was saying was, I think that during these type of times, what we need to do is go into prayer and keep our families and our friends and loved ones safe by communicating daily, keeping each other up in prayer, surrounding each other in our communities with love. Give back as much as you can. Just do your good deeds and your good works. No matter what else is going on out in the world around us, we don't have to be in it. We don't have to participate in it. Watch, is there anything you wanted to actually watch? Can you take over for just like 2 minutes? I gotta run to the restroom.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I'm gonna go ahead and mute myself and you go ahead.
Salute to the chat. You know, watching this, I had noticed that after this happened after the election, and it's really unfortunate that it seems like they want to turn back the hands of time, but of course, we're definitely not going. And I live in Arizona, and here in Arizona, we have a similar situation over here going on with people marching up and down the streets, spewing hate. And it's just very sad because we thought that we were making a little bit of headway, but obviously, in order for something to happen like an election and for that to come out, then I'm expecting the president, well, the next elected president, which is Trump, to come out and speak about this and condemn them that are spewing out all this hate. I don't really, sorry, hold on. I really don't know and understand what's going on in order for a president to be elected for this to start coming out. I was extremely surprised that it happened where TT lives, which is in Ohio, because Ohio seems like a city and state where, you know, they have love. I know that they have a large African American community there and of all different type of races, and it's just a sad, unfortunate situation that we have to go through this in 2024. What 2025 holds for us, I really don't know, and I hope that it is better. Like TT said, on this channel, we do not support any type of hate, rather it's racism, religion, any of that. Color, creed, any of that. Age, we don't support any hate at all.
All right, thank you, Watch.
Go ahead, hon.
So yeah, I watching somebody I was talking to about this when it first happened, and she said, "Oh, we're used to that here in Arizona where I'm at." And I said, "Really?" I said, "Because I know years ago I heard that they held a rally down there at our Capitol building, and I was surprised that they were even allowed to do a rally, but they were, and it's gone on for years. So it's not just." Again, like I stated earlier, it's not something that just happened. We're pretty used to it. A lot of people, if you're born and raised here, you've seen either the Ku Klux Klan march through here, you've seen Nazi groups march through here, and they're strong and opinionated. And I think in the past they were allowed to rally and march as much as they wanted to. But the difference between the past and what happened occurred this past week or earlier last week was they were like going down downtown, the short north of downtown, and they were literally chanting racial slurs, like bow down and stuff like that. So people were highly offended, and that's why you saw the community group of leaders come together, because if you're gonna march peacefully and you're trying to spread a message or whatever, I guess they feel that's their opinion and their right to do so. But when you are deliberately attacking a group of people, and that can become violent, that can turn pretty violent quickly, and it can be bad bloodshed type of situation. So they don't want that here in this city at all. So it's all about how you do things. Also, in doing my research this week, I didn't know that this group endorsed the Republican party and administration. I didn't know that during the election they were highly voiceful and also showing up to rallies. Let's take a look at hold on one second. Let's take a look at something that I found interesting at one of the rallies. Let me count down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I believe this is it.
On August 25, 1967, Rockwell was gunned down by a disgruntled follower while leaving the Econowash laundromat in Arlington, Virginia. But his National Socialism still exists in the United States, and the NSM still believes in the core values of the American Nazi Party.
A lot of today's neo-Nazi groups can be traced directly back to Rockwell. He's considered a hero in the neo-Nazi movement. At National Socialist Movement meetings, they venerate him. They have a big poster of Rockwell and a big poster of Hitler side by side. They consider him a hero of the movement. He's an American Nazi.
Men from Rockwell's American Nazi Party went on to form their own white supremacist groups, like the National Alliance and Aryan Nations. In 1974, Richard Butler founded Aryan Nations on neo-Nazi ideology and the principles of Christian identity, a belief that set them apart from other groups. Aryan Nations members do not wear the uniform of Nazi Germany, but they do embrace Nazi symbols. For nearly 3 decades, the group has been one of the most active neo-Nazi racist organizations. Aryan Nation's current leader, August Kreis, believes Buford Furrow's 1999 attack on the Granada Hills Jewish Community Center was a profound failure.
He went into a Jewish daycare center, fired 70 rounds, one shot, one kill. That's the way it should have been. Kill them all like God sought them out.
Furrow's attack was rooted in the misplaced fear that the Jews are breeding whites out of existence, and that the only way he could protect the white race was to exterminate his enemies.
Violence is a necessary evil. A white society, again, is not going to be accomplished without violence. It's not. No amount of voting is going to change anything.
Aryan Nations lost its headquarters in Hayden Lake, Idaho in September 2000. when a court ruled against them in a lawsuit brought by a mother and son who were assaulted while driving by the compound. But losing its headquarters did not destroy Aryan nations. It merely scattered its members.
There's no way to destroy it now. Going after one person's not going to help. Every time they do that and they do away with a major organization or try to do away with it, it breaks up into a lot of smaller organizations. So much harder to watch. You know, so they actually create more of a problem for themselves.
Okay, so that wasn't actually the video. I'm going to play that video next, but that's more history on the American neo-Nazi group that was founded in the 50s, late 50s, beginning in the 60s. And so, as you can see, they've been active, highly active since that time, and they're very voiceful, but they're very vocal.
My idea is simply this: America was built by and for the white Christian people of this nation.
We have been seeing, really ever since Barack Obama first won election in late 2008, a growth in groups on the radical right. In 2008, we went from about 150 so-called patriot groups, anti-government radical groups, to something like 1,360 groups in 2012. In the last year, though, Donald Trump has added fuel to that fire in a very big way.
Kim, why are you here? Go. Why are you here, man? Go. Why are you here? Let's go.
Al Gore and George Bush and people like Mitt Romney and these people, they're all the same. You know, they're all the same type of candidates. So it's pretty interesting this year to see something a little bit different. So. You know, we support those nationalist principles like closing the borders and things of that nature. So we do support those things, but we're not going to come out and endorse them.
Donald Trump wants to bring back jobs to America, give dignity to the American worker.
It's not that Trump is telling these groups what to think. They have, had their own white supremacist ideology for many decades now. What Trump is doing is legitimizing.
I came here to speak on behalf of Donald Trump. I never met the man, but I can tell that he has nothing but the best interest of this country in heart.
Some of the things that he's saying are issues that we've been tackling for years now. We talk about globalism, we talk about America first, these sort of things, bringing back American jobs. These are things that he's hitting on. So it's put a lot of our nationalism sort of becoming mainstream.
All we want is to change America back to what it was.
We do want to see whites, rise and have our own state here in this country.
I do think that Trump will probably help the movement grow as a whole. We may not see that reflected at rallies, but I think we will see it reflected on the number of people who are engaging with the ideas of the white supremacist movement, whether that's electronically on the internet or in actual person in face-to-face encounters.
I mean, we are all across the country going to be watching the polling places. Where we have chapters, where we have members, we're going to be unofficially monitoring those polls in different parts of the country.
And salute to Jamal and salute to Perp that just came into the building. So as you can see, he said that he feels like that Trump, they can identify with some of his ideology. Nana Watch, did you want to say anything?
Well, I just wanted to say Real quick, that's scary. That's scary. It went from 2012 to 2024, almost an extra 1,000 new hate groups that
Yeah.
were formed, and that's just really unfortunate. That's scary for me. That's scary for me because we have to understand that when people get into those type of groups, the hate doesn't just come from the adults. They teach the children as well. So we have
Yeah.
to make sure that we educate our children on hate and, treating everybody equal. But that's scary. And I'm glad you're playing this and we have this live because I can talk to Noah now and just make sure that I keep educating him on with treating, his fella students and friends and everything equally. Go ahead, babe.
Absolutely. And there's been studies done with children, and I'm definitely, I knew someone was going to come in and bring up the children, the effects of this, all of this on children, and so I did do some research on that as well. And racism is taught. Is not, it's learned. It's a learned behavior. So it's typically something that children are either going to mimic or they're being told directly to do. Correct. And before we get into the conversation about how we can combat it in our homes, what things that we can do personally as parents for our children, I also just wanted to send out a very strong message that sundown towns exist. Okay. And I know some of you are like, what is a sundown town? A sundown town is typically a place, or it's a little rural location that's located where these types of groups reside, because they all reside together. Okay. And if you're a person of color, if you're African American and you're traveling and you get caught in one of these towns at night, they will display racism towards you. They will they're in a typical, they're probably going to display some sort of violence towards you. And so I have some videos that I want to share with you all concerning the sundown towns, because this is a really real thing. These people have very strong opinions about their race and who should be in this country, who shouldn't be in this country. They date their feelings back to the oppression of Black African Americans, period. They believe that we should go back into slavery, that we're not equal to them in this country at all. So let's get into a video about a sundown town.
By the time Missouri Governor Jay Nixon went on television yesterday to announce the midnight curfew for residents of Ferguson, we'd already gone off the air here on MHP. But friend of the show, Dorian Warren, who was with me at my table yesterday, stuck around and joined my colleague TJ Holmes at his table during the news conference. After it ended, Dorian weighed in on the historical precedent to what the governor had to say.
What you just said, Raul, when the sun goes down, here is the historical context for this. If you were black in an all-white town, you could not be in that town when the sun goes down, and it was a threat to your safety.
Historian and author James Lowen, the man who literally wrote the book on sundown towns, uncovered thousands of these towns that existed in the United States throughout the 20th century. By some estimates, as many as 10,000 sundown towns had sprung up across the country by 1970. Some where the warning to African Americans not to let the sun go down on you was an unspoken rule that spread by reputation. Others where the warning was explicitly spelled out in signs posted along the highway or at the town or on the county line. But all of them, whites-only spaces where being black after dark could mean arrest, harassment, assault, or worse. In 1968, 21-year-old Carol Jenkins was selling encyclopedias door to door in the sundown town of Martinsville, Indiana, when she was stabbed in the chest with a screwdriver and left to die in the street. So for African-American travelers, making the choice about where to stop for food, gas, or a bathroom break, or rest for the night was potentially a life or death decision. It is in part what prompted the publication of this, the Negro Motorist Green Book. This handy guide let African Americans on the road know where they could find safe harbor and where they need to steer clear of the threat of white violence in sundown towns. The Green Book started to become obsolete when the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 outlawed racial discrimination in public accommodations. But that history of restricting travel and access to public spaces for African Americans seemed very present last night in Ferguson, where the streets, the people were warned to stay out after midnight in a town they normally call home.
Salute and welcome to the panel, Perp. How you doing this evening?
Salute, Perp. Oh, she's on mute. TT, sundown town? I've never heard. That's the first time I've heard of that. Doesn't that seem like that would be something in the 1920s or something like that? I've never heard of sundown town. And then one more thing I want to say too. I changed my avatar because this is the perfect live to say have a heart. You know, we got to have a heart. We got to accept, you know, people, even though some can have hate, we going to hit them back with love, and we're going to hit them back with, you know, having a heart. We just have to do that because it's getting to times where it's going bad again. And this is not making America great again in no kind of way. It's taking us back another 400 years.
Right. I agree.
Go ahead, love.
I agree wholeheartedly. And I feel like spreading the awareness of what's actually going on is the most important thing, because nobody wants to get caught blindsided by anything like this. These groups are out here. They're being very loud, very vocal. They feel, you know, there should be a shift and change due to the election. They want something done about the immigrants. They want something done to put a kind of control the African American communities that continuously grow here in America. They want to be heard, and they want to be seen. They want us to know that they are here. And I'm not going to say they want us to be in fear, but I believe they do. Because if you date back and go back to history and Jim Crow, and history just says that there was a lot of violence that took place when it came to people of color and different cultures. And we've gone through a lot. And as you said, not on my watch, they want to put us back in a time we don't belong in.
Right.
We overcame so much as a people, as a community, and we're here to stand up against anti-racism. And we're here to be anti-racism. We're here to spread love. We're here to spread love to everybody of all races and cultures. So, Pert, before you chime in, something interesting came about the conversation we were having on your panel the other evening on your live. And you said you did not know that a sundown town existed in your area. I found a video of a gentleman speaking about a sundown town close to.
Well, I found one time.
Yo, let me tell y'all as quickly as I can about my night in a sundown town. Excuse me. Yes, I said that correctly. A sundown town. 2022, a sundown town. For those who don't know what a sundown town is, look it up on Google. But anyway, so I get a load going to a particular city in Texas. And I'm like, okay, well, let me head on over here and drop this off. They're going to pay me this much. That's perfect. I like that. It's a quick 200 miles, make it quick. You know, whatever the amount was, great, cool. I get there and I look at the exit. I'm like, wait a minute. It took me to exit 861A. For those who don't know, it's a place called Vidor, Texas, Vidor, Vidor. I'm like, uh-oh. I've heard stories. Like pretty much everybody I know in Texas that's black tells me, do not go to Vidor, Texas. I'm like, okay. Yet here I was in Vidor, Texas. My load didn't deliver until this morning. This is from the perspective of yesterday. Didn't deliver until tomorrow at 8. It was like 5:30. So I get to the place. I'm not giving names of companies or anything like that. But while I'm driving to the place, I see trailer parks. I see a bunch of Confederate flags. I saw a doll of a black man. It was just a doll wrapped in a Confederate flag hanging from a tree by its neck. That's the type of stuff I saw in Vidor, Texas, which led me to believe that the reputation was fairly earned. I get there, the security guard says, hey, we got a code red. The guy gets on the phone, is like, hey, I can't, I don't want to be responsible for this guy's safety. Let me go ahead and find somebody because we stopped taking loads at 4 o'clock. But I'll get somebody over here from the other side of the plant. Tell them to hang on. So I hang on. I'm doing what I got to do. Finally, somebody comes by about 15 minutes later. The guy said, let me hurry up and get you unloaded. He quickly gets me unloaded. And they said, dude, you might want to get up out of here as soon as possible. We're at sundown. You want to leave here now. Don't stop until you at least get to Beaumont. I was like, okay. He was like, no, seriously. I said, well, what about the police? Why aren't the police there? Police turned a blind eye. I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna do what you said. He said, yeah, man, I don't want to see you get in any trouble. So I went ahead and I took off, headed to Beaumont. I went to the Petro in Beaumont, slept there, and I had my Armalite Rifle 15 with me. Slept with a couple of extra magazines, but I'm safe, y'all. But that was my night in the sundown.
What? Wow, interesting.
Okay, so sundown towns they do exist, and what may have to happen is, I know we don't want to go back in time, we don't want to revert back into history, but we may have to bring the Green Book back out, because the Green Book was a traveler's guide for African Americans or people of different cultures, whatever, and that book was a guide on where it was safe to travel and places that you should not be after dark. Because we are in 2024, and so many people don't even know that sundown towns exist. But then I'm thinking, are the Nazi groups, the Ku Klux Klan, the Proud Boys, are they out in plain sight amongst us? Probably so. But they have chapters, they have headquarters, correct? And they have communities where they've raised up generations of people who think like them, actively want to do what they want to do. So it's very important that we be careful on whose grounds we stomping on. And we're not segregated anymore. That's the sad part, that we even have to have a conversation like this. This is a free country. We can go wherever we technically should be able to go wherever we want to go. But as you said, some of the police officers in these smaller cities and towns are a part of these groups.
Well, TT, they all Klansmen in a damn way. That's what all the damn. I'm sorry. That's what.
Go ahead. It's all right.
I'll get up real hard. My bad.
Yeah, Purple getting ready to go crazy.
I don't know about y'all, but having this conversation gets me all heated up inside because, and I don't want us to act out and be aggressive about it. I know there's some people that are like, what the hell are you talking about? We should be out here beating some ass. No, I think that peace and love can overshadow this type of stuff, because if we see that we come together as and form a unity, regardless, we still outnumber them at the end of the day. And as you heard the gentleman say, even though he's a truck driver, you truck drivers be very careful, because I know some of your routes may take you in the path of a sundown town, right? Just like that gentleman said. So he wasn't doing anything but minding his business, going to work, doing his job, earning his paycheck, and that's his right as a U.S. citizen to do that, right? But the thing is, you have certain laws to protect yourself. I know that who we got coming into office is coming into office, and things may change. as Perp always says, pay attention to your laws and the changing of the laws that are occurring in your specific state. So, Perp, go ahead and chime in.
Okay, my thought clear now. Okay. Okay. Now, where I'm from Arkansas. Now, when I was born and raised in Arkansas, there was no Mexicans, there was no Nigerians, there was no it might have been some Indians there, but it was mostly black and white. When I was going to school, which back in the 60s, the blacks didn't date whites and the whites didn't date blacks, and blacks knew what the whites knew not to come across the tracks because the majority of the black people stayed across the tracks. And they knew not to come across those tracks, but they might have marched a few times in Arkansas, but at the same time they didn't mess with us, and they already knew that we was we gonna stand our ground. But as far as on sundown towns, I think I went to one time in Arkansas. I was riding with this dude in the truck and gonna make a delivery, and I went in the store to get something, and look like I didn't belong now. I said, damn, look like I don't belong up in here. We're in the wrong spot. You know what I mean? But you can tell when you're in the wrong spot. You can tell when it's nothing but Caucasians there. You don't see any African Americans. Because when you go into certain towns, you can see the difference between, you can tell the difference between if there's African Americans in that town or not. You can really tell when you enter the town by just the way you see it, just the way the people, the cars, just the way the town is set up. But yeah, but other than that, I never would have been involved in the Ku Klux Klans. But like I said, the Ku Klux Klans are mostly built off of they now went to something higher. They went to the police departments, they went to the judges, the attorneys, and things like that. So they no longer, they went to a new era as far as the Ku Klux Klan, but they no longer wore the hoods now. They were uniforms, they were gowns, there were badges, they were guns and things like that. So it's not just they're not just in hoodies no more. They out in the public, and we not recognizing with them who they are because they are judges and things of that sort.
Right. And that's why I said you could be living right next door. That's the reality. You could be living right next door. Because if you're the type that don't know your neighbors, I stay to myself. And I wave. I'm friendly. How can I say it? I smile, nod, wave with my neighbors. I don't go. I don't run and intermingle with them. And I have black and white neighbors.
Right.
I have a Mexican family that lives right next door to me. We are cordial with one another. Or we look out for, like, Bubby might get in the street and they'll come. Is this your dog? I thought that was your dog. He was just lingering out in the street or something of that nature. But you don't know nobody's business. When they go in their homes and shut their doors, you don't know what they're practicing, what their beliefs are. You understand what I'm saying? So a friendly face, a smiling face could be somebody that really behind the scenes, behind the closed doors of their home is like, I don't like them ends down there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's the reality. And because we got neo-Nazis marching through our city, right? There's a lot of misconception about the North, and we're considered Midwest, so the North technically, right? So when slaves escaped from the South, they crossed the Ohio River, they came to Ohio, they came through Kentucky, they came through Ohio, they went to Canada, they went further north, and they migrated north, right? So they're like, well, why would there be neo-Nazis marching around in the North? Just because this was the North and there were free states here doesn't mean that there wasn't racism.
Right.
And that's a big misconception in history. Check this out, y'all.
Oh, you must be so glad to be in New York. The South is so racist. The South is so racist. Oh, you mean the part of the South that starts at Canada and ends at Mexico? Find me a part of America that's not racist. I'll move today. I'll wait. I know the North is more racist because in the North, they split up white folks. They got Italian neighborhoods, Irish neighborhoods. I live in a Greek neighborhood. You know what Irish and Italian and Greek is in the South? White! Nobody has time to break down your brand of whiteness, okay? I don't care what flag your Caucasian flies under, Brandon.
You know what I wanted to add, TT, to before you had played the video, over at the other house, I know everybody on my block and on the other block. And when I had moved over to the other house years and years ago, I talked to all my neighbors and introduced myself and brought them cookies and, you know, talked to them, because the reason why I did that, because if something happens, rather like my kid coming down the street or somebody breaking into my house, they're more inclined to be like, hey, they all have my number. It sounds crazy, but the whole block has my number. And if something, they'll be like, well, did you leave your light on or your garage door open? And they will call me. And I feel a little bit safer to know all my neighbors and everything. So you might want to think about that, because if something happens, then they'll know if, like, okay, well, something ain't right because she doesn't do this or she don't do that. So I just wanted to keep that.
No, I got full confidence that my neighbors will look out for her, because they don't come off as being like, ew, they speak. You know what I'm saying? They're wave.
Right.
It's a Caucasian lady. She just moved across the street. Really sweet lady. Her dog is like the size of a horse. Okay.
Dang.
And he was out in the front yard, and she saw that we kind of stopped because he looking at us, we looking at him, he looking back at us. And she said, oh no, he's gentle, but I know that he may jump on y'all. So she went and actually went and got a fence around the front of her yard installed. Like within the last month, she's been making a whole lot of provisions to her home. So like we see them in passing, and we're cordial, we speak or whatever, but it's not like, oh hey neighbor, what you doing today? It ain't like that.
Right.
But I am
Right.
on the neighborhood app. All you do is just put your zip code in, and they'll pinpoint like people in the surrounding area, and you're all in one app together. And that's another thing, y'all keep an eye out on your kids, because even if you're in a segregated how you say it, we're not a segregated, desegregated neighborhood that you're living in, okay, and you have neighbors who aren't that friendly. You don't understand? Like, you ever
Right.
went and waved at somebody and they don't wave back? They kind of give you that look like, why you waving? You know
Yes,
what I'm
all
saying?
the time.
So you could kind of follow their viewpoints if they're on that app. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them was like, these black kids came in the yard and knocked my Christmas ornaments, my Christmas decorations down. And they had the Ring camera showing the kids doing it. And
Right.
so little things like that can escalate into something bigger if we're not having the conversation. If we're not doing our part, you understand what I'm saying? Talk to your kids. Don't go in nobody's yard, messing with nobody's stuff that don't belong to you. Don't be trying to snatch nobody packages off. Because a lot of these people, including myself, I have cameras. You
Right.
understand? So if you violate my property, or anything attached to my property, it's going to get picked up on a camera. But a lot of these people feel like, and I'm gonna just say it, I'm gonna just be honest and frank about it. We don't have that much handle on our kids. They out
Right.
here running amok and causing a ruckus in these neighborhoods, and don't think these white folks ain't talking about it and having an issue with it.
Right.
Because I see it
Right.
every day on this app that I'm subscribed on.
You know
Right.
what, TT? I had the neighborhood app, right? And I was getting notifications in the middle of the night. I mean, I'm like, are these people on some type of substance or something? Because that thing dings, people selling clothes, shoes, say, did you see this, see that? So I kind of deleted it because it was waking me up. Do you get a lot of notifications in the middle of the night?
Oh, I turn all the notifications off. I turn it off for Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I don't because the notifications is going to constantly interrupt you. So I don't turn the
Girl.
notifications on. But one thing that did point out to me in the neighborhood app, you got people that are actually watching their Ring camera, like just to be nosy. You know,
Yeah.
like if your camera's pointing at the neighbor's house, and let's say, okay, for instance, it was a couple outside kissing next to their car, but she could pick up what was going on in their driveway from her Ring camera. She posted it. It was like, this public, this, well, what, how did she say it? She said, this public view of affection needs to stop on my Ring camera. Like, lady, turn your Ring camera in a different direction. Like, how are you offended by that? I can see if they was over there throwing rocks at your house, or, but we got petty people, y'all. We've heard about the Karens. You know, the Karens come all and be all in your business, and they want to shout at you and act like they the law, and you looking at them like, what? You know what I'm saying? So you got to be careful. I mean, I'm not telling people to stay in your lane. You know, you black and you out there with them white folks. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, be cautious of who your neighbors are, what you're dealing with, surrounding your surroundings. You know what I'm saying? Be just a little. Get out your phones, because we got a bad habit of just being in our phones constantly and not paying attention, because we have things like this going on. We got neo-Nazis marching around, shouting stuff. Bow down this end. You know what I'm saying? Bow down that end. So be careful, know your surroundings, and there's so many different things that you can do. Join a community outreach group. You know what I'm saying? And go down to City Hall and express your concerns on these things, because you have that right to do that. Perp, did you want to chime in?
Let me tell you, it just about me. You know why? Like where I'm from, like I said, I'm from Arkansas, the real part of the deep South.
Hey Jennifer, welcome back to JusMe TT. Love you best.
When I moved to Dallas, I guess you probably say, "Oh, Perk was racist." But yeah, I probably was racist because of the fact that, you know, my grandmother was Indian, my mother was black and Indian, so we didn't fool with Caucasian people. Even when the insurance man would come to my grandmother's house, like I said, she was an Indian. When the insurance man came to my grandmother's house, they would sit outside on the front porch. She wouldn't allow him in her house. She wouldn't allow Caucasian people in her house. She wouldn't allow them in her house. When I moved to Dallas, I didn't fool with Caucasian people. Just went to work and that was it. So I got boys. So my older son, he going to Brian Adams, and so, you know, his belief wasn't like my beliefs, but he would interact with Caucasian people. And one day this Caucasian girl came to the door, her mama, they knocking at the door. I'm going to the door. You know, like I said, I don't fool with Caucasian people. I'm like, they asked my son, I told my son, you don't get these from my damn house. I don't fool with these people, what they doing in my house. You know, I wouldn't interacting with them like he was interacting, because he was going to school with them. And so, like I said, I'm from Arkansas. We didn't interact with Caucasian people like that. But it took me a long time before I started dealing with Caucasian people here in Texas, because I didn't deal with people like that. And then with my niece, like I said, she was born here in Texas, in Texas. Her husband is Caucasian. And so when she married a Caucasian man, like I said, my grandmother was Indian. My grandmother asked her, "What you doing marrying that?" She didn't call him Caucasian, she called him white man. What you doing marrying that man? You know what I'm saying? She said, "You don't need to be marrying him. Why you marrying him?" You know, my grandmother couldn't understand that, because, like I said, she was Indian, because so much was done to the Indians. They didn't fool with Caucasian people. So I didn't fool with Caucasian people at all. It took me a while before I got started. And then what made me just started really fooling with them and started getting more and more interacting with them, because my oldest son would bring them home and interacting with them. And he playing baseball. He was good in baseball. Then I had Gavin. Then Gavin was just open to everybody. He didn't care. He didn't care about nobody's color. He could have been green. He didn't care. So it kind of like changed my whole attitude toward Caucasian people, toward people, period. I can just say that as I grew older and I got my own kids, my kids changed my way of thinking. They changed my way of looking at things. And so I can say, and I hate to say it, but some of the people that's Ku Klux Klansmen or that's racist, they may have felt like I felt until somebody come along and changed their heart or mind, and changed their heart, you know, into a different place. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, for me, I didn't deal with them talent. I didn't deal with them people, period, at all. Not at all, period.
Yeah, I've never had a racist viewpoint. Y'all know my god babies are half white. My
Right.
best friend is half white. I've never had I can't sit with a Caucasian person. I can't be friends with a Caucasian person. I love everybody equally. And I've just never saw race. I mean, yes, they're different, but it didn't ever affect me. It never made me feel no different about them. It's because
Right.
some of the best people in my life are not black. You understand what I'm saying?
Mine too.
And so
Yeah.
I don't identify with racism. I can't even imagine hating somebody because we don't have the same color skin. In my eyes, we all bleed red. So, and we're all God's children. We're made in his image. So it just, this type of, like, even have it. And that's why I'm glad you guys are here, because, and everybody that's in the chat and the bush is listening right now, because everybody has have grew up on whatever side of track they grew up on and had their own experiences. There's people who have actually experienced a form of racism, and when they tell me their stories, I'm like, what? It's so foreign to me. If there's racist people here, it's not in our face. We don't have Confederate flag. Now, you might go out in further out in the country in Ohio and past Amish town and all of that, and you may see it there, but it's sparse. You understand what I'm saying? It's not like grouped up together in your face like that. And so I just want people to be aware, because it's happening everywhere.
Right.
And
TT,
we're in times where
you are, TT, you more up in the city, like up toward the city, like.
Yes, I'm in the capital.
I'm deep down in the south. I'm down in the south where the dirt is red, and I'm down that way. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm down there.
You are.
So, you know, yeah. So me and Pep, that's where we from. So everything is kind of in the way you are. Y'all might be more friendly up there, whatever. But down where I'm from, like I said, the black people stayed across the track. That means the white people didn't come across that track, and they knew not to, and we knew not to go in their areas. You know what I'm saying? That's how we avoid that's how we avoided fights and arguments and stuff. We stayed in our in our places, and we went where we wanted to go, but we knew about the KKK, and they knew about us. You see what I'm saying? So they quiet. They stayed where they stayed in their place, and we stayed in our place. Like I said, there was no Indians down, and there was no Mexicans there. There was no Nigerians there. You might have 1 or 2 Chinese that they on the ones on the beauty supply houses, but other than that, we didn't have it. We didn't have other races down there. And when I came to Texas, it's like everything just like it changed to me. So yeah.
But Perp, look at God though. Look at God.
Shut up.
Heart was changing. That's the blessing in it, and that's the message, and that's the hope that. And I mean, we reaching when we say we hope that a message of love will spread to everybody, turn everybody's heart. But it's still a message that can be put out here. And
but think about this. You know, when you had your children and them interacting. Like, that's why I said, look at God with your children interacting, that changed your heart too. So that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, Jamal said racism is taught, and it absolutely is. It absolutely is. Let's get into another video about the sundown towns, because I keep going back to this. Y'all better, for real, do y'all research on stuff. Yeah, man, Perp, because listen, the shock value of knowing that this stuff was going on in Jim Crow days, and we in 2024. You understand what I'm saying? And we got to be concerned about where we travel to. Oops, I might not. Oh shoot, I'm out here at the dark, and these people got Confederate flags hanging, black baby dolls and stuff from trees. Come on now, y'all. Come on.
To all my melanated individuals out there who do a lot of traveling on the road like myself, you should know what a sundown town is, because believe it or not, they still exist. And how do I know this? Because I've been through one. BuzzFeed did an entire article about my experience, which I would like to share with you all. Now, for those of you all who don't know, these are towns that African Americans are not allowed to be in after a certain time because it could get bad for them. Back in 2020, I went to Devil's Bathtub. Devil's Bathtub is located deep in the southwestern portion of Virginia. Now, as you're on your way there, you're going to pass through poor neighborhoods that have nothing but rebel flags flying high. And you have a lot of one-way roads that have no street lights or cameras. At one point, I thought to myself, damn, I could easily get murdered and no one would ever know. Now, obviously, nothing happened to me. But as we were leaving, we took the scenic route back home. I remember traveling along Route 119, stopping at a gas station. The cashier was like, "You must not be from around here, huh?" I was like, "Nah, I'm just passing through getting gas." She was like, "Yeah, you best not be around here after a certain time. This is a sundown town." Now, I don't think she had bad intentions. I think she was just looking out for me. But that was the day that I learned what a sundown town is.
Now, Perp, okay, I gotta say this. If you go down a country road and you see a little sign off to the side and it says "Welcome to Devil's Bathtub," I ain't going.
I'm backing the hell up, TT.
I'm backing up and I'm turning around. I'm going the opposite
I ain't turning around. I'm backing all the way up.
Cause one or two things gonna come into my head. That place hot as hell. If it's the Devil's Bathtub, or they got something else going on fishy. So yeah, maybe we ought to break out the Green Book again, y'all. And I hate that people gonna be like, "Damn, TT, you trying to take us back to history, Jim Crows, all that." I get it, get it, y'all. I get it, but we don't need no more of our folks hanging from no trees, unidentified illins, unalive. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? Because it's happening and it's a real thing. And so you got the neo-Nazis marching around, okay? You got these rebels and these people saying, "Send the migrants back. We don't want them over here. Ends, bow down. Know your place. Get in your place and stay in y'all lane," and this, that, and other. And you got all this stuff being said, and then you got the sundown towns.
Yeah, but them all the wrong words they saying, because them gonna be the words gonna get them jacked up. Gonna let them know.
A lot of these people are living in small communities and they huddled up together and they having these conversations, just like we up here having these conversations on what the next move is going to be. Okay. So you can't just get caught slipping. Go ahead, Perk.
Do you think that the reason why Trump said that he gonna legalize where you can go through everybody's town with your firearms without being licensed? Do you feel like that's the reason why he said it? Because he know there's gonna be a lot that coming with him being president, so like he was the last time when he came. David Duke came out.
Let me say this, and I'm being for real when I say this. I do not. After I did my own research, I don't think Trump is the main issue here. Okay.
Yeah.
I do not think that Trump endorsed these groups.
No, he didn't. He didn't.
Okay. I don't think that this is okay. So they popping out because Trump's winning the election and he's rallying, he's campaigning and doing all this stuff. Okay. Right. But you heard the guy on the last video say some of the viewpoints that they have had and they've been fighting for decades are some of the same viewpoints that Trump is willing to endorse. Not these racist antics, necessarily, but the viewpoints. Okay, so there's a very big difference. I need everybody to understand that. I don't want nobody to go out. Well, over on TT's, they said that Trump has got the neo-Nazis and the Ku Klux Klan and all these racist groups coming after folks. I'm not saying that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just simply saying that they're popping out because, can I help you? Oh, okay. Because the viewpoints are the same. They agree with the viewpoints. And they're marching around with MAGA hats. Y'all seen it. They got the MAGA hat. They want to make America great again. That is the slogan used by Trump and his Republican Party, right? Their viewpoint of making America great again may not be what Trump's viewpoint on making America great again is. Some of the things that they feel need to happen to make America great again. You understand what I'm saying? Trump is willing to endorse those policies. So that is the misconception. That's the elephant in the room. when it comes to, what this is. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Did I make that understandable, Perp? Because I for real don't
Yes.
want people to think that I'm saying Trump has got these people out here marching and
Yeah,
and
no, no,
ridiculing
you
him.
didn't say that. That ain't what she said. Y'all go out that line on my TT and a
Yeah,
T.
please don't, please don't. And also, I'm gonna show y'all the reason why I think is a little bit too radical on their end when it comes to what they're saying about Trump. Because you'll see why. I'm gonna show the video in a minute. Hey, Pat, welcome to the panel.
Hey, Pat. Pat.
It may take her a little minute to get
How
off.
y'all doing? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Hey, TT. Hey, friend.
Hey, Pat.
I've been running around like a chicken with my head cut out. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Okay. I want to get into something real quick, and then we'll spin the block and come back to the sundown towns. Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to get into a conversation about our kids, y'all. Okay. Because as you saw, Jamal put down in the chat, and that's a very powerful statement. I'm glad he made that statement. Racism is taught. Okay. So how do we reverse that? How do we reverse what our kids are going to grow up and think and believe to be true? And I really hope my daggone thing don't die up here, y'all. I'm going to have to grab my charger.
You got to teach them at home.
Here are some ways to help protect our children from racism. Talk about racism. Have open, honest discussions about racism, diversity, inclusivity. Ask your child what they're hearing on school, TV, online. You can also discuss examples of racial bias in the media. So read books, show them videos, introduce them to what this is. Show them, neo-Nazis marched down in Columbus. How do you feel about it? What does that mean to you? Teach about different cultures by reading books, watching movies, listening to music from different cultures. You can also visit cultural fairs and museums. Take advantage of what's out here when it comes to helping you raise your kids the proper way. Help your child develop a strong identity. Teach your child about your family's cultures and traditions. This can help them develop a strong identity and feel less likely to believe negative stereotypes. Be an example. Speak up when you see something unfair and encourage your child to do the same. Explore your own biases. Consider your own beliefs and biases about race and ethnicity. So look in the mirror. Ask yourself, am I actually racist? No matter if you're black, white, purple, black, whatever, green, ask yourself that. Role play. Have your child play, act, sticking up for themselves. Help your child understand that everyone is equal. Definitely in God's eyes, we are all equal. Help your child understand that no one is less human than another, and that everyone should be treated with respect and kindness. There are plenty of anti-racist books, okay? Such as All the Colors We Are, The Story of How We Get Our Skin Color. That's by Katie Kissinger, and you can find that in any bookstore. How to Raise an Anti-Racist by Ibram X. Kendi. Our Skin, A First Conversation About Race. Raising Anti-Racist Children, A Practical Parenting Guide, and that's by Britt Hawthorne. So you want to talk about race. I'm not even going to try to mess up this author's name. Aluo, I believe is the last name. Something Happened in Our Town, A Child's Story About Racial Injustice, and that's written by Marianne Solano. Stamped Racism, Anti-Racism, and You. That's another one by Ibram X. Kendi. Start Here, Start Now, a guide to anti-bias and anti-racist work in your school and community. That's by Liz Klenrock. This book is anti-racist, 20 lessons on how to wake up, take action, and do the work. That's written by Tiffany Jewell. Last but not least, there's the Anti-Racist Resource Guide, and that was written after the wake of in the wake of Ahmaud Arbery's death, and that book is written by a lady named Tasha Kay. So that's just a list of books, you guys, that you can purchase read to your children, have them read, have a reading night with your kids and have a discussion. And there's nothing wrong with educating your child too early. All children, regardless of their race, gender, orientation, or socioeconomic background, have the right to survival, learning, and protection. Okay. Pat, did you want to
Also, I just wanted to add to what you said about teaching your kids race. Teach them about race and teach them that everybody is equal, but teach them how the concept of race came about.
Yes.
Like, the root word of racism is race, and the black people, African American, whatever you want to call us, we ain't never really been in a race. So a lot of us, when they say we racist, we not really racist. We prejudiced, and everybody's prejudiced. Like example, I'm prejudiced against Ford. I ain't gonna buy nothing but a Chevrolet. I just wanted to reiterate that.
Thank you.
So, Pat,
In 1940, I'm sorry, Perp. Let me tell this one thing. In 1940 and 1950, there was a series of psychological experiments conducted by psychologists. TT, get it together with this list, y'all. Psychologists Kenneth and Mamie Clark, and this experiment was done on black and white children. Perp, hold your thought with Pat, and let me just get this out real quick, and pay attention to what happens at the end of this video, y'all. Pay very close attention to what happens at the end of the video.
And which one is the white doll? Which doll is the pretty doll? Which doll is the nice doll? Which doll is the bad doll? Which doll is the nice doll? And which doll is the bad doll? And why is that doll pretty?
Because he's white and he has 2 eyes.
Which doll is the ugly doll? Why is that doll ugly?
Because he's black.
Which doll looks most like you?
Like me?
Yeah, which one looks like you?
And that one.
Okay.
That doll.
Wait, that is the most beautiful little girl. Hi, honey. What a beautiful. Look how beautiful. Hi. You want to come up and see me? Huh? You want to come up? Come on. Most beautiful little girl. Wow. And she got all decked out for this evening. Wow. So beautiful. Oh, come on. Okay, just no more, though. No more. Come on, bring her. So beautiful. What's your name? What? Oh, that's say it.
My name's Salamnish.
And do you know that where are your parents? Where are your parents? Wow, congratulations. What a job. What a beautiful person you are. Thank you, honey. Come here. Boy, they did a good job. Come on up here.
So Trump embraced a little African American girl on the stage during one of his rallies, and he said she was beautiful, and the crowd went crazy. Crowd was just elated to see that, and a lot of people were thinking he's pushing a national racism agenda. Okay. And so my very first question was, well, if these groups and are endorsing him, it can't be because they feel he's racist. Because if you see something like this, that's saying the opposite. You understand? And then people were like, "Oh, he could be pretending just to get the black vote, whatever, whatever, whatever." Okay, we know Trump is in an interracial marriage, and we know that that's just what it is. Okay, so again, that I want to reiterate that um, going back to the study, that study has been done over and over and over again and conducted within the United States with American children since the early 40s. That's a very real test. I did that test with my daughter and kind of got the same response, that she felt the white doll was prettier, because they're looking on the outside, you know what I'm saying, of what the doll represents, I think. And so that's why read those books to your kids, talk to them about their race, and don't diminish having a conversation to teach your children to not be racist. Teach them against racism, because that's what needs to happen in order to change the mindset. That is exactly what needs to happen. Okay, Perp, did you want to chime in?
Oh no, I just wanted to say that like Jamal says, taught at home, and I can see it being taught at home, like I see everybody got their own different views. Everybody had their own have had their experience with an African American or Caucasian person. So I think that I really do think that's why Trump is putting in place where you can travel with your firearm, because he already know things are gonna get bad. That's why I do believe. I believe that I think it's gonna give. I think that we're gonna see more of the marching. We're gonna see more. We're gonna see more. We're gonna see a lot of protesting of Caucasian. We're gonna see a lot of the Karens acting out. We're gonna see a lot of the Karens husbands acting out. So we got a lot to look for that's gonna come toward us, but we got to have to embrace it the right way, the way that we won't get in trouble. You know what I'm saying? Things of that sort. That's basically all I want to say.
Jermaine said, and welcome to JusMe TT, Jermaine. Jermaine said, doesn't matter if their definition of MAGA is the same or not. Trump has consistently refused to condemn these groups, so he, at the very least, is an accomplice in advancing their agenda. So, I thought about that too, and I said to myself, why isn't these radicals being thrown in jail? If we was out there doing it, we'd be quick to, they'd be quick to throw our race and cultural groups in the jail. You got a whole bunch of people saying they're not going to let them do a mass deportation in their city. They're going to fight against it. So we very well may see some. We may see something very big happening here within the next couple of months after he's actually seated in office. So I mean, I thought about that as well, and then I thought, well, they've been here. They've been here and they've been marching around it. Every president that we've had, they've popped out. You know what I'm saying? And so they've been doing their rallies, they've been doing marches, they've been spewing racial slurs. I mean, you can go down the street and see they writing on buildings, on
Right.
billboards. You
Right.
know,
Mm-hmm.
it is freedom of speech. It will go against the Constitution, I believe, unless he just did away with that altogether. But that's a whole nother conversation. I think that the main conversation to be had is that they are here, they exist. A lot of people do not know about them, and a lot of people do not know about towns that they may not be able to travel in after a certain time of night.
Mm-hmm.
Some form of violence may come up against them because they exist.
So where is Black Panthers in there, man? Where's where is the our black leaders and our forces, things of that. So where are they at? I mean, they all locked up. Shit, that's where they at. They locked them all up.
Which goes back to another issue of why it's such a disservice for us to not have a crime bill. Everybody else in the United States is getting one. How come we can't get one? And we the one most violated. You understand what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah. We've been trying to get
Well,
one for years.
well, to your point, per there are still groups of Black Panthers around, and you got a new little group called New Era Detroit that patrol they city, Detroit and the corners and everything that go on around there. If you Google them on YouTube, New Era Detroit to show up. But it's still some chapters of the Black Panther. They call the New Black Panther Party. I met a couple of them in Houston at the Black Agenda. But they done scared us so much, put fear in us so where they kill our leaders and stuff. To the groups, they kind of stay in the background like the KKK do. They kind of stay in the background and they don't show up like we think they should show up, but they show up.
I understand what you're saying, Cassandra. They may not have it tatted on their face, on their
Yeah,
forehead, Black Panther Party, but they may be just lying in wait, and they may do their own organizational work behind the scenes. We don't know that to be certain.
yeah,
Um, Jamal said race was created
Well,
by Europeans for cheap labor and money. Shaking my head.
yep.
Um,
I
good
know a
point.
lot that went on, and nobody came out. George Floyd and all them that passed away, and Mike Brown. I mean, you know what I'm saying? They didn't come out. I didn't see them out there like they should have been then.
No,
It was
that was Black Lives Matters, and that's a whole nother show too.
That wasn't for us. Black Lives
Yeah.
Matter wasn't for black people. That wasn't for us.
and
Jermaine
see,
said he's appointed people like Stephen Miller to his cabinet. That should tell us everything we need to know.
well, see, a lot of the reason why they don't the groups that we got in the Black community don't show up is because we are demonized and criminalized so much. Even when we trying to help, like doing George Floyd. They was locking the people. Most of the people out there protesting was black, but the black
Right?
people wasn't really the one that was stirring up the mess. It was other people paid to come in to stir up the mess, but they were locking all the black people up.
They was sure.
Good
Yep.
point. Pat
So
and Perp, can y'all continue the conversation? I got to run. Put on mute real quick. Y'all know how a water pill do you, so just give me a second. Go ahead, continue
Okay.
the conversation.
We gonna run this. We're gonna run it up. We're gonna run muck up over here.
and you know that's a lot. One of the biggest reasons that a lot of the groups that are out there, except for New Era Detroit, they out in the street and they letting you know. And their number one priority is old people and women and children.
Children,
And
that's right.
they basically policing they own, you know, anything go down, they policing their own. And they got other chapters around the country too. They just started in Detroit, but they got other chapters. And the new Black Panther Party, they got other chapters around. They just not out in the open like they used to be because of the way that the other, you know, when we had the Black Panthers back in the day, they killed them.
That's what I'm
They
talking
did.
about. That's what I'm talking about. They got rid of they got rid of all of them. I know. I locked them
And
up.
then they come up with this thing when black people start waking up and realizing that we have a Second Amendment right too, although a lot of us know it, and start using our Second Amendment right, because we should be able to walk around in public with our guns just like they should be able to walk around in public with their guns. And if this is a Second Amendment country, that we have the right to bear arms. So why would you decriminalize? Why would you criminalize the one set of group and not the other set of group? And that's what keep a lot of black people quiet, because they got us so scared that we don't want to go to jail because we know we the ones that fill them up.
Better come on. Yeah, that's right.
So
That's right.
we got some out there. We got some out there. The best thing is to do is teach our kids, like Chichi said, teach our kids about racism so they'll know when to
Yeah.
recognize racism and not be
Well, you know,
blind to the fact.
we know Pat back in the day around Martin Luther King era and this and that. You know, they were teaching kids back then, you know, about that, you know, stay out, don't go here and don't go there, you know what I'm saying? And be with a group of people. And they did that back in the day. They taught that their home at they down that table. They did do that back in the day. They did that. I remember that.
One of our biggest detriments, and a lot of people don't want to believe it, but one of our biggest detriments was being segregated.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big detriment to us. That's why Martin Luther King made a statement, I led my people into a burning house. Because when we were segregated, we knew where to go and where not to go. We knew who to go spend our money with and who not to spend our money with. You see all these videos. You can't get you can't get some people to understand. They rather go in the store and post a video about them being mistreated than just don't go in that store.
Don't spend
Yeah,
your
you
money.
got a right to go in that store, but you got a right not to go in that store too.
And spend your money. That's right. Spend your money
All
somewhere
right.
else.
Thank y'all, Pap and Perp, for holding it down for me. Oh, I can't stand a water pill, child. I can't stand it.
Me neither.
Jermaine said, when are we going to come to the conclusion that we have to separate from these people to have peace and prosperity? Just a question, and a very good question, Jermaine, at that. Pap and Perp, y'all want to chime in?
That goes back to what I was just saying. That's the whole. It's hard to get us to understand that a lot of us, cause we got access to the white girls, we got access to the white boys, we got access to go in the Louis Vuitton store. It really shouldn't matter because that's actually our detriment. We gotta learn how to stick together, and we do need to learn that when it's coming. That's a good question, but it's coming to shape to fruition every day, slowly but surely. Cause people realizing that, like all these just for example, homeowners association, they don't want the melanated people over there. So why y'all keep running over there where they at? Start your own.
And we have said over time and time again that the importance of starting our own is going to shape our future if you really think about it. And she's right. At the end of the day, she's right. We depend too much on them, and that creates what this is. It creates it. So I have to agree with you, Pat, 100% wholeheartedly. Let's take a look at another detailed video about the sundown towns and how it's even more. Is it perilous? What's the word? Y'all know my brain be getting jumbled up and I'll be forgetting what the words are, but it's more I'm gonna just say it's just as important today in 2024 as it was back in the 50s and 60s, y'all.
In the history of America, there were towns in the United States called sundown towns. Now, those of you who are not from America that could be watching this video, a sundown town is basically a town full of racist white supremacists, male and female. And if you're a black person in that town at nightfall, then they will attack and take your life. You understand what I'm saying? So even in 2023, you still have sundown towns in America, but yet America will go to a lot of your countries and try to tell you about democracy and human rights, but yet they have sundown towns in America. Case in point, you have a brother that's going to detail some things that he experienced going in certain sundown towns. Let's roll that.
We don't have Volvos here. We don't park Volvos here.
So in the video, you can see the lady talking about basically telling him, you're in a sundown town. You need to get the hell out of here right now. This has happened to me on multiple occasions. The verbiage is never going to be specific. You just got to listen to what white supremacists are saying. One time I'm in the 70-76 interchange, small town in Pennsylvania. Hella trucks go through it every day, all day. I pull over to the side of this dirt road, ask this non-threatening white man who's walking, hey, which way do I go? And he looked so like a regular cool white person. But the way he talked to me, the verbiage that he used, let me know I was not welcome. He was just like, do you know where you at? You know, it's not too many of y'all that look like you that's over here. And just different little stuff. And he got more, not violent, but the more aggressive in his verbiage with every freaking word. He was trying to let me know, because he was like, oh, this ninja can't take hints. And I couldn't. He was telling me, get your black out of here. So y'all need to learn how to pay attention when white people are talking for verbal cues that don't make no sense.
America can't tell no country about human rights, because I always tell any person in any country, if they try to come wagging their finger at you about human rights on any level, their Achilles heel is Black America. You tell them, well, you talking about human rights. You got sundown towns in America in 2023 where Black people, they caught in that town, they're going to unalive them in 2023. What are you talking about? Look at what your police do to Black people. That is their Achilles heel. You can also tell them, look at what they dealt with slavery, and you still haven't even made that right. You didn't even pay reparations to Black Americans. How you gonna come over here telling us about any kind of human rights and democracy? You have no human rights and democracy in your country. So go do human rights and show us how it's done first. Then you come over here and tell us, and then we will listen to you.
Interchange, small town in Pennsylvania. Hella trucks go through it every day, all day. I pull over to the side of this dirt road, ask this non-threatening white man who's walking, hey, which way do I go? And he looked so like a regular cool white person. But the way he talked to me, the verbiage that he used, let me know I was not welcome. He was just like, do you know where you at? You know, it's not too many of y'all that look like you that's over here.
In this society, in America, and the beautiful thing about the internet is that it's exposing everything in real time. And people all over the world can see this. And it's a beautiful thing. Sundown towns should not be in existence. But let me tell you really how Black people got caught up in those sundown towns. So these brothers you talking about are truck drivers, or maybe a person get lost somewhere. People have went to gas stations and they try to warn you and let you know, say, hey, you know where you at? And say, it's not a good place for you to be. You probably want to leave. So they'll try to warn you to get out of town. But if you are caught, this is normally how they get you. The white supremacists are the police too. They the police chief, they all the police. So what they'll do is the police will pull you over. For nothing, literally. They pull you over, and then they'll call their white supremacist friends. And then the police will take you somewhere, and then they let their white supremacist friends, and they're going to get involved with it too. And then they're going to, torture you, and they're going to unalive you. That's what they're going to do. And they're going to get rid of the evidence in the car because they're the police. That's what they do in these sundown towns. So letting you know, it's not no random Klan just show up with it's the police. That's who is the Klan, right? But my position on the sundown town thing is this: most of these towns aren't economic hubs. They aren't thriving cities that you got to be there, right? I don't want to be in these sundown towns. I'm cool with being in the city I live in, the major cities, flying to the major cities I need to do business in, etc. I don't need to be in these little hick towns. They could have them. I'm a firm believer of that. And if I was a Black person, I had to be a truck driver, and they say, hey, that town over there, you need to be out by nightfall. I said, no, I'm not delivering nothing to that town. Y'all can send somebody white over there and do that crap. But yes, in 2023, Black people can't be in certain towns or something will happen to them. Now, is that legal? No, it's not legal. It's not legal on the state level. It's not legal on the federal level. It's not legal whatsoever. But it's not being prosecuted at all. The federal government isn't coming down and saying, hey, we hearing this is a sundown town. You know what we about to do? We about to investigate everybody and see what kind of crimes or anything happen here. People come up missing, and they'll quit that mess. They'll quit, but they're not going to do that because always remember, they all on code. No matter if they Democrat or Republican, they all on code with each other. Understand that? And the only time they're going to do something, unless we expose it to the public, and now they're going to have to deal with it. It's like, for instance, George Floyd. If their young sister would have took that video, we'd have known nothing about George Floyd. Nothing.
So in the video, you can see the lady talking about basically telling him, you're in a sundown town. You need to get the hell out of here right now. This has happened to me on multiple occasions. The verbiage is never going to be specific. You just got to listen to what white supremacists are saying.
That's why I'm a firm believer.
Why they send the truck drivers to sundown towns anyway?
Well, to be honest, a lot of them probably don't even know about the sundown town.
Mm-hmm.
No, and that goes to what I was going to ask you ladies next. Do you feel that the Green Book needs to be brought back?
Yes, yes, I
And
do.
the funny thing about the Green Book is they were publishing up until the 80s, I think.
Yep, I remember my grandma had one.
It was it was a serious matter for anybody African American to travel with the Green Book, because the Green Book told you what roads to avoid, what cities and towns not to venture in, which places you shouldn't be after dark, especially. What hotels that were safe to stay in, what restaurants were safe to eat in. It just gave a breakdown of where you needed to be, when you didn't need to be, where you didn't need to be. You see what I'm saying? And it
Right.
was just clear point, it cut to the point for our people. So I agree with Pap. I think the Green Book needs to be reinforced, reincorporated for this new generation as well. Um,
And not only is showing a safe space, it's also giving business to the black people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It gave a lot of businesses. She's making a good point. It gave a lot of businesses to the black community. And also there was a documentary on the Green Book, and I didn't know about some of these places. They were thriving. I mean, I'm talking about water parks, beaches that we owned.
Mm-hmm.
And people are when you feel like, well, hell, I can't go down here. I know I'm in this state, but I'd rather go here. Then you're giving back to the black community. Then you're,
Mm-hmm.
back into the black community. So, hey, who we need to write and talk to about the Green Book? Because I think the author of the Green Book passed away, but the Green Book can be reinforced and brought back into play. And I know people are going to have mixed feelings about it, because like, damn, why we need a book to travel, and this is putting us back in a time where we came from. I get it, and I understand why people would feel like we shouldn't have a Green Book. But when you got sundown towns, when you got neo Nazis, when you got the Ku Klux Klan, and you got the Proud Boys, okay, feeling the way they feel, and you marching in on their territory, okay, after dark, something serious could happen to you.
And what a lot of people don't understand, we really ain't moved the needle too much from the 50s and 60s.
Not too much. Not too much.
It ain't moved too much. You got a freedom to move around here and there, but people still got their own biases. Like when you do go in these stores, the people working in there, how they feel about you? Or when you do try to go over here and get this apartment, how do they feel about you? The people sitting in the office, is they gonna
Yeah.
fill your paper? Is they gonna run your paperwork through, or is they gonna throw it in the trash? You still got
Right.
that. But the green, I think, like you said, TT, the Green Book would come in handy. Now you got I can't remember exactly who it is, but they got a list. It's by black. Yeah, that's what it is. They got a list of thousands and thousands of black businesses. All of them, some might be online, some might not be online. But if people that's black people in Germany just do their research, you can just about find out that we making everything too. We making
Yeah.
sunglasses, we making purses, we making cowboy boots, we doing it all. And in my opinion, I think that if we don't start shopping with each other, it's gonna be kind of a detriment to us, because we need each other. We really need each other, and all this fussing and fighting. And he got this, and he got that, and he said this, and he said that. That's gonna have to cease.
You're right. Now, Bert, I want your honest opinion. Give me your honest opinion, and as best as you can. Don't got to be perfect or all right, but just give me your honest opinion on this. So, if you have people who say, "Well, I have a right to not have to use the bathroom with someone who is of transgender or of the opposite sex, right? Depending on their sexual orientation, I have the right to not play sports with someone who is a transgender or of LGBTQ, right?" When you look at it that way, is it fair to say that maybe white people should have be allowed to have that same argument?
Well, in my opinion, they had that argument when they was keeping us out of everything and making us go in the back door.
Segregation.
They had that argument. And as far as the transgender go, the sports, I don't want no man in the bathroom with me while I'm using the bathroom. And I'm sure it's a lot of men don't want no woman in the bathroom with them while they trying to use the bathroom.
Right.
And for the sports go, it's disadvantage. If you got a man over here playing women's sports, that's a disadvantage because a man is naturally stronger than a woman.
That's right.
And if you got a woman over there playing with the men, she might be just as good as they is, but that's a disadvantage because, like I said, a man is naturally stronger than a woman.
I wanted to raise this question because, and I know it's sensitive. I know a lot of people are like, that ain't two of the, that's two of different, you know what I'm saying? The two different things. Okay, but it's his rights to freedom of some form of somebody's civil rights. You understand what I'm saying? And so it all kind of falls under the same umbrella. Now, I in particular thought about segregation as, okay, we can't drink in y'all water fountain, y'all not supposed to drink in our water fountain, we ain't supposed to be using y'all bathroom, and vice versa, and so on and so on. We eating at our own restaurants, y'all eating at y'all's own restaurants. And so where that line diminished and they said, okay, everybody be with everybody, now you got race mixing. It's okay, it's legal. You understand what I'm saying? And then you got to complain against that. So you got to really think about it. Like, if we had better jobs over here and they wanted to work our jobs, would they be shouting about segregation then? If it's them, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, they've never had to. There was no competition with us because it's like, y'all don't want to be with us, right?
Right.
So y'all staying on y'all side, we staying on our side. What's the problem? But you lifting the veil of segregation, okay, and those things are going to happen.
Right.
And this generation ain't going for that.
Right. And when I growing up, when I saw whites only, Negroes, Negro section, I couldn't understand for the bathroom and the water go because I couldn't understand that because we all human beings and our bodies work the same way. So what
They
difference?
said we carry different diseases than them. I mean, you got to really go back in time and think about some of the misconceptions and lies that were being told at that time. We contaminating them, all of that stuff.
I understand all that, and that goes to the thing. If we carry different diseases than they do, if we contaminate all this, why was the black women nursing y'all kids?
Yeah, absolutely true.
It makes you just sit down and think. Them people weren't very smart.
You said it over at Perps before. You said it was always about race mixing. They were always afraid of the race mixing, and now they mixing more than we are.
Yeah, because now it's all coming out that
Well,
I'm
they want it
melanin.
more than we do. Let me correct that. I'm trying to be silly about it, but they want it more than we do. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
because now is all the information that's available. They realizing that our melanin is stronger than theirs. So all the lies and everything they was telling about we wasn't smart as they were. When they segregated schools, they seen we was just as smart as they was, smarter most of the time. We more athletic than they are, and that now they seeing that melanin is got something to it. You know what I'm trying to say?
I see what you're saying. So Jermaine said, okay, wait a minute. Let me go back up, y'all. I want to get to y'all's comments. The green book will get taken over by the LGBT community today. Just saying. Okay, Jamal. Jennifer said yes. So we going. So we go from having a black president back to green book in a matter of 12 years. That lets me know we will never live in peace with these people. Man say, y'all talking that talk, shaking my head. It was taught to keep them as the dominant race. They know they going to be extinct sooner or later. Jennifer said those are two separate things. Yep, they're two separate things, Jennifer. But people will raise that argument. You see what I'm saying? And it is like people think too far into. So listen, let's go back to the green book. Let's address Jamal and Jermaine. I'm not the only reason why I'm saying I feel like maybe the green book can be prevalent in help because we do have these sundown towns. And we do have these groups marching, and they're getting louder, and they're trying to be more vibrant amongst us in our own communities. They're making noise, okay, right now. So I feel like if you got these issues of what's going on in sundown towns, and a lot of people aren't aware. Here, Perp lived in Texas and didn't know about Vigor. She didn't know about it. She didn't know it existed. So you got these, a bunch of people that's saying, hell, I didn't even know a sundown town existed. Right? It ain't like it's a sign out there like it was back in the day. You just travel through the little backwood city, the little backwood town, and they got Confederate flags. They got black baby dolls hanging by their neck on trees and stuff like ornaments. This is the type of stuff you will see while going through a sundown town. And then well, shoot, I shouldn't be here. But by the time you try to get up out of there, it may be too late, right? The police that's going to pull you over. Go ahead, Pat.
My thing with the Green Book, it would be revamped for 2024 because, in my opinion, if we can't go back to the Green Book, it ain't necessarily just going back to the Green Book. It's giving people heads up on which stores not to go into.
Right. Where they don't want your business.
Yeah, where they don't want your business.
I mean, I don't want to give I don't know how y'all feel, but I don't want to give my business to somebody that don't want my business. I don't want to travel into somebody's town that don't want me in their town. I don't live there. I don't pay tax there. You understand what I'm saying? And it's so, I know it's so like, TT, we going back, and I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back either, y'all. I don't want to go back either. But we got to protect ourselves. We got to protect our families, our loved ones, our friends. There's got to be something that we can do to empower ourselves and diminish theirs.
And to make the point you talk about, TT, as far as going back, it ain't so much as going back because we really wasn't that bad off. We wasn't that bad off. We just wanted the same liberties and the civil rights that everybody else wanted. We wanted to have the right to go in that store. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it ain't so much as going back because we got that right to go in that store now, but it's so more of now we know the consequences we might face if we go in that store.
Let's keep it real. Going in those stores didn't even matter. Because you could
really
look a certain way, you could wink, you could whistle, and that may not have been before the white lady behind the counter. And it got us lynched, y'all. Let's go to the reality of what that was. Going into their stores didn't ever bring us nothing but more violence anyway.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
You had a 14-year-old boy walk up into one of their stores, and they said he whistled at the lady.
Come on, Emmett.
Yeah.
And he lost his life.
Amen. So did.
The issue got to start with us. Fixing the issue got to start with us. That's what she's saying. That's what I choose to believe in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying go back where we ain't got the right to go in their stores or go in their hotels or go where we should have that right, and they should have a right to come in ours too. Although everybody already know once they find out 9 times out of 10 somebody black on it, they don't want to be there no way. Well, okay, that's your right. Don't come, but you welcome to come if you want to come over here and spend your money. Come on, I'm gonna treat you just like you any other customer. But
why does the DOJ allow these towns to exist? Good question. Because we ain't got no crime bill, Jermaine. We ain't got no daggone crime bill.
They ain't gonna never get there where it's seen. Because we got one before we even got one.
That made me feel like it's law to kill us. It's law.
Y'all gonna this is my opinion, but if you do enough research and read between the lines, it is law to kill us. We should have got a crime bill when we got the Civil Rights Act.
Right.
That's killing us even more than you.
Why give us a Civil Rights Act and don't give us a crime bill? Why even put a Emmett Till anti-lynching law, but they're still lynching?
And why have black police if they can't police the white people, but the white people can police the black people?
Yeah,
we're not going down the roads and seeing bodies hanging from trees. Okay, that's not what we're seeing today. But we are seeing killings in a different nature. You understand what I'm saying? And 9 times out of 10, they're happening because we in their territory.
And why the DOJ don't do nothing? Because, like I said, it's law to kill us. People might not, it ain't written out, oh, it's a law to go kill black people. No, 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 no. They ain't even going to come out and say it.
It's
All you
not
got to do is, all you gotta do is look around and see that it's law. Because
No, it's the 13th Amendment. It says a lot in that amendment. It's
yeah.
written in that amendment.
And the FBI put out the statistics of hate crimes, and we always at the top. We always at the top. So if we always at the top, and each DOG change hands every 4 years or every time we get a new president, put it that way, why come somebody along the way ain't did nothing? So it goes back to the fact that well, is it law to kill us?
It's never been, and there was never supposed to be a point to change it with the DOJ.
That's right.
Jermaine says, see the issue, the system is the problem. Exactly.
Of course. The system always been a problem. This is why I'm gonna ask y'all a question. I ain't trying to take it out in left field, but it kind of go this. When they go to talking about go back to Africa, come home to Africa, do y'all have any sense of connection to Africa, or do you have a sense of connection to the American soil?
Oh, I don't belong. I never been to Africa.
Oh, I know nothing about Africa.
My mom
and I know it's a beautiful place, but I never been there. I never met a family member from there.
What I'm asking is, in your being, in your soul, do you feel connected to Africa, or do you feel connected to America?
I guess in that sense, I feel connected to where I was born and raised, and what I know to be home, which is America.
Right, and a lot of black people feel that is because the vast majority of us, whether a few of us want to believe it or not, we was already here. That's why they tried to take the Indians out to begin with. It was too many of them over here.
Right.
And where they went, it was them black Indians, them redskins, them copper colored people. They was everywhere over here.
Yep, sure was.
But do y'all realize that we supporting everybody though? Do y'all realize that that's what we've been doing since the beginning? The Haitians are here, we support them.
Yep.
The Jamaicans are here, we support them.
And then they come over here and they tell
Asians are here, we supporting them. When is they gonna step up and just support us?
And they come over here and they turn their back on us. That's the reason why a lot of people like that dude you showed a while ago, Phil. My husband turned me on to him. A lot of him and a lot of more people that I listen to. That's why they done made a distinction between black people, well, not so much black people, Foundation Americans, American descendants of slaves. They done made a distinction between our lineage and them Haitians, the Jamaicans, the Nigerians, the Asians.
But you said something powerful, and I don't remember. It was a while back on the live. You said something that stood out to me too. You said they down talk us to them. That's why when they come over here, they don't like it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they do.
That's why.
And
so we having summits then. Why can't we do what they do? We can have summits too.
And that's the reason why a lot of people, the main forerunner, the more one something for the reparation is brought it all out. That's why they come up with the distinction of our lineage, because we welcome everybody in.
Yeah.
It wasn't that they had stopped letting people from Africa come over here until we got our civil rights, and part of our civil rights was to let more people from Africa come over here. And when they started letting more people from Africa come over here, they were white. They wasn't black. They wasn't black. They were white. And a lot of people don't know that. It was the mid-70s before they actually, if y'all think about it, the late 70s, early 80s, before you actually start seeing black Africans. They weren't letting the black ones over here. They were trying, and then we open our arms and we welcome everybody in, try to take everybody in, take care of everybody we can, and then they come up in our house and spit in our face and tell us it ain't good enough for them, and we ain't good enough. And not to say this ain't my opinion, because I was listening to a show and I heard a second generation African. Her parents were from Nigeria, but she was born and raised here. And she flat out said her parents told her don't intermingle with them black folks from America. And she said she had to question them because I go to school with them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not supposed to intermingle with people that look like me, whether we the same, background or what. I'm not supposed to intermingle with them when the white people ain't really rocking with me. It's the black people that's coming over here trying to be my friend, talking to me, trying to show me a way around.
Well, see,
They
that
do
was
that.
always that was just always my opinion. They don't want us to come together because we are non-white. All of the races that are non-white to come together and be more powerful, instead to stand up against some of the stuff that we go through, and that's why I felt like it's a disservice to get rid of them because them are here and they are intermingling with our communities. A lot of them are here and they're trying to get accustomed to our culture and get to know us and our culture just as well as we trying to get to know theirs. So it ain't everybody. You know what I'm saying? Um,
No,
how do
it ain't everybody. It ain't everybody. It's just nowadays we actually taking a stand, and we ain't gonna. Y'all not gonna come over here and tell us we lazy and sorry when we the reason why y'all have a chance to even come over here to begin with.
right?
That's
Let's
basically,
let's
that's
take a look
basically
at
what
the
they.
Pat. Let's take a look at what they're saying about how we should be coming together to stand up against racism. Did you get the message? I got the message. Because it's going to come a point of time where they're going to feel white people are going to stand with us. A lot of white people. We got white people in our families, in our neighborhoods, in our communities, people we work with, people that we've grown personal relationships with. He said, what were they saying? He was mad because the African American gentleman got on the bus and he said, you didn't buy a ticket, you shouldn't even be on the bus. um how'd you pay for it? Did you get government funds to pay for your ticket? He was antagonizing him and being ugly. And he got mad because the other guy was like, you shouldn't even be saying that to him. This is a free country. Sit down and be quiet. And so he was like, stand with me and let's deal with this. And dude just told him, okay, get off the bus and fight me. Because you don't believe what I believe in. Get off this bus and fight me. He said, okay. So he got off the bus. And then when he walked to get off the bus driver looked over at him and he said, just drive off. And so she left him standing out there. Thank you, Jermaine. Jermaine said I was reading the caption. I was hoping that y'all would read the caption so y'all could get the message. But yeah, we gotta just start standing together for real. I know we talking about our own communities, and Jamal, I wanted to go back to your comment because I think you mentioned us having our own hospital, and um, let me see if I can find it. Let me see. Because I looked at it and I was meaning to read it, and then I went past and started talking about something else. So, but he was saying that we just need our own to not have to depend so much on them, right? And so, um, but we can also. She said, "I got the message. Thank you." Yes, now I'm gonna watch. Stop trolling me. So yeah, the message is that we stand together. If you want to if you want to put a handle on the racism issue that we may be seeing today, that could be very well affecting us personally in our lives, and we stand together. And I mean, I would stand with the next race if it was happening to them.
I always told my husband, I said they keep on trying to start a civil war. They gonna come to realize that it's probably gonna be more white people standing with us than they think it is.
Oh, I absolutely believe that.
A lot of them, whether they want to admit it or come out and say it or whatever, a lot of them know they can't survive without us.
Not only just that they can't survive without us, but we have personal connections
Yeah,
some way or another.
yeah,
Like, yeah, okay, we intermix the races, okay, and what can we do about it now? These people are here. You know what I'm saying? Are we
right.
supposed to execute everybody that ain't of one or the other race? No, that's not how that works. So it's like even Perp had mentioned before, um, some of these racist Caucasian people that existed back in the day, they got biracial grandchildren now.
Yeah.
And they're not disciplining their grandchildren. You have embraced them, took them in and everything. So it's like, where does it
I mean, and then it go all the way back to slavery too, because you know, Master had a lot of little black babies running around there, and I'm a descendant of one.
Right.
I got proof. My grandma, her daddy was Master.
Most races are okay.
So we've been kind of mixed in anyway.
Yeah, for a long time. For a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So the message for today, you guys, on this live, and I hope y'all leave with this message and take it and embed it in your hearts. Love each other as God loves all of us. Because we're all his children. We're all made in his image. And they started that mess separating the Jews from the Romans, and you know what I'm saying? That stuff has been started from a long, long time ago, and it's just trickled down. So we have to be the ones to stop the cycle of racism by educating each other, teaching our children young enough so they'll know. Again, if you have experienced any type of racial incidences yourself, there's a helpline here where you can gain support, where you can talk to somebody. That number is 1-833-457-5463. There's also a 24-hour hotline for anti-racism and anti-oppression. And that number is 1-833-485-1335. I want to thank Perp and Pap, and Not on My Watch for coming up and joining me this evening on the live. Wasn't expecting to be here this long, but I am grateful that we were able to have this conversation, shed some light, bring some awareness. Okay, let's get to one comment before we go. Trump is going to have to send National Guard troops from red states into blue states to round up and deport illegals. We may be closer to internal conflict than people think. And also, Jermaine is making a good point. Keep an open mind on what could happen before the year is up and leading into 2025. Keep an open mind. Don't be surprised. Thank you, Pat. She says, thank you for having me on the panel. You're so welcome. So I'm going to close out, you guys. Been up here way too long. And I want to thank everybody again for being in the building with me, enjoying the content. And I will leave us with a little message. But in the meantime, everybody stay blessed, stay prayed up, stay aware, stay vigilant. Okay? Use the resources and the tools while they're here and available to us to educate yourself on these topics. I appreciate you all. Each one teach one and love each other.
Allow me.
Thank you.